Last night we celebrated the Grand Chumbo Festival with families from all around the world. Chumbo is a Korean term that Mother Moon created, which means treasure of heaven, and is designated to those blessed couples who have gone above and beyond to share the blessing with others, including their ancestors. So I wanted to take some time today to explore the meaning of this Chumbo providence and the three requirements it takes to achieve this status as Chumbo. Also, the significance of each of those different requirements. So let's take a look. So what is Chumbo? These are the Chinese characters. It means heaven. The first one, Chun, or that first character that you see means heaven. And Bo is treasure. So translated, it's the treasure of heaven. But let's read a little bit from Mother Moon's message just last night from the celebration yesterday to hear more about the significance of this providence. I initiated this providence to spread the blessing throughout the world. More than 5,000 couples registered as Chumbo couples. This is your victory. Chumbo families should never waver or change. You are the eternal flowers, eternal treasures of heaven. So what I took away from this was that the main intention of this Chumbo providence, the treasure of heaven, is to share the blessing throughout the world. She's also encouraging all our blessed couples to strive towards fulfilling this and celebrating those who have achieved it so far. I also noticed here that she's emphasizing the importance of this from heaven's perspective. So let's continue to read. Please go into the world and let us restore the 7 continents and all of the nations of the world. Let us transform this world into a beautiful, resplendent world filled with Chumbo families. May this happen by 2027 and on the day when we celebrate the 60th Heavenly Parents' Day. So Mother Moon is clearly thinking about all of humanity. And another thing that stood out to me is that there's a time period. She wants to fulfill this and reach the whole world by 2027 because it happens to be the 60th anniversary of our annual God's Day, Holy Day, which was established in 1967. So, it's as if she wants to offer this gift, this as a gift to our Heavenly Parent on his 60th anniversary. I really feel that in everything that Mother Moon does, she's connecting us with God. Let's continue. May you become the proud, the citizens, the children of Heavenly Parent in this age of Cheongyoguk. May you all become Chumbo families. May you blossom as beautiful children of Heavenly Parent. So she always connects from the messages that I hear her say, she's always connecting us back to God as our Heavenly Parent, that we are the children of God, and everything we do should be out of a desire to really bring joy to God. And she models this herself all the time. She's also encouraging us to do the same. So it's clear that Mother Moon is really wanting us to fulfill this. To help make it a little bit more clear, I wanted to break it down into 3 main components to fulfill this Chumbo. So the first step is, and main requirement is sharing the blessing with 430 other couples. Usually on the foundation of receiving the blessing yourself, you can go ahead and start to share that blessing with other couples. So let's read. The life you lead on earth should be one where you practice true love in accordance with true parents' words. What that means is that you should not be in a position where you alone have come to know about true parents and received the blessing. That is why True Father's last words were that each of you should bless 430 couples as heavenly tribal messiahs. So what Mother Moon is referring to here is Father Moon's final prayer before passing in 2012, where he really asks all of the blessed couples to fulfill their mission of tribal messiahship, which basically means that every couple that received the blessing, that they then become mini messiahs, or kind of a parental figure, a true parent to their family and their tribe, hence the term tribal messiah. So in one sense, Mother Moon is reminding us and encouraging us to fulfill Father Moon's kind of final wish to all the membership worldwide. So the next question is, well, why 430, right? That's a lot of couples. So let's read. This is actually from Father Moon. After selecting holy grounds throughout the world, I gave the blessing to 430 couples. These couples correspond to the 430 years during which the Israelites were in Egypt and to the 4,300 years of Korean history. So for anyone that knows Father or Mother Moon, they're really big into numbers. And even in the Bible, there's a lot of references towards significant numbers. So in 1968, Father and Mother Moon conducted a marriage blessing of 430 couples. Now, they didn't start there. They started with, their own couple in 1960, then 3 couples, then 36 couples, so on and so forth, until they got to 430 couples. And here he's really referencing that these 430 couples is really connected to the history of the Israelites and the people of Korea. Let's continue reading. They signify the beginning of a new history. Moreover, the 430 couples represent all the families of the world. So my understanding is that Father and Mother Moon led the way in this blessing movement and are now asking blessed couples to follow their examples and do the same as tribal messiahs, to continue to share the blessing with all the families in the world. So Father and Mother Moon conducted this blessing at the national level, representing families throughout the world, and he's passing on that task that they also did to have our blessed couples who are willing to step up in responsibility to also do the same, become kind of a mini messiah for their tribe by sharing this blessing, this salvific work of the blessing to their families, their relatives, their extended family, basically their whole tribe. Okay, so that was the first step, was to bless 430 couples, which is a lot of work. But on top of that, there is the second requirement, which is guiding 43 couples through the complete blessing process. Okay, so this is kind of going, like 430 couples is kind of going wide. These 43 couples is about going deep. So I'm going to do a quick recap of the 7 steps in the holy marriage blessing process. So let's take a quick look. So first is the principal education. So it's really important to provide the proper education in the universal principles, in understanding father and mother's role as true parents, and the blessing itself, the significance and the preparation necessary to really receive the blessing. Second step, there's the giving of the holy wine or holy juice in a ceremony that's conducted by a blessed couple. And there's a whole marriage blessing ceremony where there's an exchange of vows and really a new commitment for the couple to become a blessed couple. Then there's a chastening ceremony to pay for past kind of mistakes and really to start anew with really kind of cleansing or paying indemnity for the past mistakes in that relationship between husband and wife. And then usually these first 4 steps is actually done when you're doing the horizontal blessing of 430 couples. But the 43 couples that you want to go deep with, those who are ready for it, you would complete and continue with these next few steps, which includes a 40-day separation and preparation period where they commit to sexual abstinence and instead focus on their renewal of faith in God and dedication and devotion to heaven, and to relate with each other more as not as a couple, not intimately, but as friends or as siblings, and really focusing on their relationship with God and in loving each other in a non-sexual way. That's the 40-day separation and preparation. Then there's a 3-night restoration of love process where the couple is re-engaged in intimacy, and finally a gratitude offering. So this second requirement to achieving Chumbo is about really helping 43 couples to go through this final 3 steps, which is very challenging in one sense, but really important. And I think the significance of this requirement is that you really need to take care of people and provide the necessary education for them to go through this whole process. And that allows you, as the kind of spiritual parent that introduced this process to your guest, allows you to grow your heart as a true parent towards them, as a spiritual parent, and really grow your capacity as a kind of a tribal leader in one sense. Or basically being a spiritual parental figure for that couple, as well as all the others that you are helping guide through that 43-day process. So one interesting, this is a new development, an alternative to fulfilling these first 2 requirements for Chumbo is to bring 43 singles, so not couples who are already married, but if you can actually get 43 single members to go to the cosmic blessing, which is a similar but separate process where they need to really prepare even more to prepare themselves for marriage, which means that even if you're not blessed yet, you can already work towards this Chumbo goal by really engaging with single members and starting to provide them with education in preparation for eventual blessing of marriage for them. Okay, so we got through 2 out of the 3. This is the 3rd requirement for achieving Chumbo, and this one is about liberating and blessing your ancestors. Okay, so let's take a look at this. In the Unification Church, we have the Spirit World Liberation Ceremony. There are ceremonies for ancestor liberation and for ancestor blessing. So this is something that's always been a slightly, challenging aspect, even for me personally, to fully understand. I remember I was a high school, maybe I was in college, freshman year of college, and I was participating in a Pure Love Alliance kind of youth tour where I went to Japan and Korea, and we were promoting the values of purity before marriage and fidelity within marriage and so on and so forth. And when we got to Korea, which was, I think, the first time I was in Korea. Yeah. Anyway, they invited us to go to Cheonpyeong, which is the holy spiritual center of our global movement, and to participate in a 3-day workshop that was being hosted there as a spiritual practice. So I went there for the first time. I remember back then it was all in tents. There weren't really buildings. There was just like big tents. And so we got into the tent and they started singing these holy songs. and we were basically guided to start like tapping on each other's backs and then clapping and singing, and this was very foreign to me. Again, I was born in Tokyo, but I was raised in America for since I was 2 years old. And this was the first time in Korea. So I had no reference point. I know my parents were involved in this aspect, but as a second generation born into our community, I wasn't really exposed to this particular, spiritual practice until that time. So yeah, a lot of questions ran through my mind at that time. I remember in high school, I learned about the medieval practice of self-flagellation, and the Chumbo experience reminded me of that. I also remember learning about the Catholic Church indulgences, and when I heard about, offering donations as part of this process, it also reminded me of that. So a lot of different troubling questions came to my young mind at that time to try to understand what we were doing through this spiritual or this ancestor liberation and blessing. Quick questions like, how does this help my ancestors? How does offering donations help in this effort? And what is this about, releasing evil spirits? All these kind of questions came up at that time. So I want to explain a little bit about each of those, but let's continue to read. When you complete what your ancestors failed to carry out on earth, the heavenly world can be liberated. This is crucial. You have to understand it in detail. Not only your life, but the lives of all of your ancestors depend on your settling this. The final responsibility rests not with those in the spirit world, but with you. So here's the thing. If actually, according to the principle in our teachings and my understanding as well, that we are not just physical beings, we have a spirit, right? And all those that actually lived on earth, when you pass, your spirit continues on in the spiritual realm for eternity, right? So if you think about it, then those who are exposed to the principle in this day and age, we have the benefit of receiving the blessing and so on and so forth, and learning these principles, living this kind of principle lifestyle, and connecting in heart with God as a parental figure. But how about all those in the past? How about people who've never been exposed to the principle or never even had a chance to receive the blessing because they didn't exist at this time? Actually, they came before this advent of the blessing came. How about them? So if we believe that spirit world exists, then all the people who came before us, that means that they didn't have the opportunity to receive the blessing that we do now, right? And many also struggled and had to deal with the sins of the past and the sins that they committed at that time. That means that in spirit realm, they're also struggling with those same things. And the only people that can really help them are the people who are connected here on earth with them in spirit, aka our ancestry. We're the ones that can actually help them by doing some kind of condition with the intention of helping liberate their spirits. So if we believe in the spirit world, and if we also believe that God wants to save every soul, it actually makes sense that Father and Mother Moon are not just concerned about sharing the blessing with those people who are physically here on earth, but they want to actually, on behalf of God, find a way to connect and really liberate and bless even all those who came before us. So that's one thing that I noticed, was that if we believe in spirit world, it actually makes sense to do something to support our ancestry. Now, in the realm of offering donations towards this effort, I think part of it is very cultural. So in Eastern culture, there's a much stronger sense of honoring your ancestors. There's ceremonies where people go every year to clean the grave site. They even have like a shrine in every home in Japan, I know, where they greet and bow to their ancestors. They pray in front of their ancestors, ask them for support. There is this culture of honoring and revering your ancestors. And I know in Buddhist tradition and culture, they also people go to the temples and they offer donations for the Buddhist um, um, priest or the spiritual leader there to offer prayers for your ancestors. So culturally, and also in Eastern religions, it's actually much more common to understand this aspect of offering some kind of financial donation to support towards your ancestors. Um, and finally, this area of the physical kind of clapping um, and kind of I don't know how to express this, but maybe it's tapping to release evil spirits. I found this very strange, but the more I studied and I researched around, um, there is an emerging practice called tapping to release negative thoughts. You can research it, but the idea is that you do some physical touch to help release any kind of and fill your mind with positivity and holy songs. And in the Ansu practice, it's called Ansu. While you're clapping and singing hymns, you're actually aligning all of your energy and spirit towards positive thoughts, heavenly thoughts, while tapping to release anything that is residual negative thoughts that you have. So anyway, these are just things that I had to kind of process, or these are things that helped me process some of the things that were foreign to me at that time. But I want to go back to the heart behind this whole process. And that is simply that God wants to save every soul. And Father and Mother Moon, when they came, their mission in life, which they're continuing to do to this day, is to fulfill God's will, to liberate God's heart of pain when he sees all of his children suffering and struggling, including those who are suffering and struggling in the spiritual realm, those who really didn't lead the best lives and they're stuck in their guilt and in their sin. So God wants, if you really think about what God is thinking about, then you cannot not do something to help those who came before us as well. And so I think Father and Mother Moon, understanding God's heart of wanting to liberate and save every soul, came up with this kind of process, this spiritual ancestor liberation and blessing to really address that particular challenge. So that was a mouthful, I know. Again, I'm also continuing to learn and grow in this area of Chumbo. I haven't quite achieved it yet myself, so congratulations for all those who did. But if anyone is interested in participating, there's so many ways that you can already get started. If you're not blessed yet, you can prepare yourself to get blessed. That's the first step. And you can introduce the blessing to 430 couples, or even if you're single, you can actually approach and start engaging in and introducing the principle and our movement to single members to prepare them for joining the matching and blessing. Then you can also help 43 couples go through this 43-day journey, or again, singles to commit to the cosmic matching and blessing. And also you can learn more about ancestor liberation and the blessing process. So the secret to succeeding with your Chumbo or the Heavenly Treasure project or mission is to put yourself into the shoes of true parents and connect with God's heart to reach all of humanity. If you really think, if you came on earth to really save humanity, how would you do it? And it's not just about the people who are currently on earth, but those in the past. So if you can connect to that heart, this desperate heart that God has to liberate all souls, then I think it'll give you the right kind of mindset to pursue this mission. One reference point that might help is keep in mind that achieving Chumbo status is like reaching the Eagle Scouts in scouting. It's the greatest accomplishment that you can achieve as a blessed couple. And it takes years, if not decades, of consistent effort. So don't worry if you're not there yet. It's something to strive for and to work towards. But in the meantime, and even for those who have achieved Chumbo already, it's important to continue to strengthen your relationship with your spouse and cultivate this sincere gratitude for each other. Also, gratitude for God for providing your spouse for you, to give you the opportunity to grow your capacity to love and experience love together. The more you feel this gratitude, the more you're going to naturally be able to share this blessed family culture with others. And again, if you're not blessed yet, don't worry. You can start preparing for the blessing. We have great programs for both single members and for couples to get started in their blessing journey. Just reach out to the person who invited you to this National Family Service for more information.